Hello friends, welcome to the Windmill and to another episode of Uniquely Generic, the show where I take a look at some video game titles or names, rate them based on my opinions, and then maybe try to improve them if I can. Now in the last episode we did 5 random N64 games, and like last time I'm going to be pulling games at random out of a plastic container, but this time we're doing Xbox 360 games, so let's just dive right in. And our first game is... you gotta be kidding me, dude. I have damn near 50 Xbox 360 games in this container, and somehow I ended up pulling Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, more commonly known as Sonic 06. And if you know anything about this game, I think you can understand my slight frustration. But in the words of Sonic himself,
let's do this!
Now, if we were talking about the Genesis version, I would say it's a fine title. It's got a nice ring to it, rolls off the tongue, it's fun to say. But when you slap the same title on such a broken game, it loses some of its luster somehow. And in this case, just comes off as lazy. This title's generic. That's all I gotta say about that one. As for a better name for this game, it really doesn't deserve a better name. But if Sega had spent a year or two longer working on it, they could have called it Sonic Adventure 3, and I think everybody would have been happy with it. And frankly, I would have been fine with them calling it Sonic the Hedgehog if the game was actually good. But I'm gonna stop there. Maybe sometime down the line I'll dedicate a video to Sonic 06. But for now, we're gonna move on. And for game number 2 we have Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls Ultimate Evil Edition. I think you already know what I'm gonna say. That title is a mouthful. It's too long. Diablo 3 by itself is a good name, and the content they added to this version is so insignificant I could barely tell a difference. And it's just another reason that I despise unfinished games, when they have to change the damn name just so you know that this version is the one that you want. Now to be fair, Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls doesn't sound half bad, but when they threw Ultimate Evil Edition up top, that just makes me wonder, is there a Diablo Reaper of Souls that isn't an Ultimate Evil Edition? Does that exist? Oh well, doesn't matter. Now I don't have a better idea for a name for this game. I think they should have just stuck with Diablo 3, or at least left out the Ultimate Evil Edition part. But with all that negative shit out of the way, Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls Ultimate Evil Edition is a very fun game, especially if you've got another player. And at the end of the day, that's all I really care about. Let's move on to the next game. And here we have Assassin's Creed 3. Now I can't complain about that title. You know what game it is, you know that it's the 3rd game in that series. And what's sad is pretty much right after this game, they stopped doing the whole numbers thing. Yeah, Assassin's Creed Black Flag was actually called Assassin's Creed 4, but most people just called it Black Flag. And then after that, it was pretty much no more numbers. Instead, we get Assassin's Creed Revelations, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you know what I mean. So, while I would call Assassin's Creed 3 a generic title, I think it's a good title. I think that might be something people misunderstand about these videos, is generic doesn't necessarily mean bad, and unique doesn't necessarily mean good. Now, do I have a better name for this game? Absolutely not. I think Assassin's Creed 3 does the job, and does it well. On to the next one. Okay, so I wasn't expecting to see this game pop up, but that's fine. That's why I do these randomly. But for game number 4, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And much like Assassin's Creed 3, I don't think this title needs to be changed. It is a little long-winded, but that's okay. They didn't add any crazy subtitles to it, they just called it Black Ops 2. So, I don't really have much to say about it. The verdict on this title is generic, but good. Tells you everything you need to know, and you know exactly what kind of game you're getting into. So, let's just carry on to the next one. And our last game is Devil May Cry 4. Now, right off the bat, I love the title Devil May Cry. It's wonderful. As far as titles go, it's legitimately one of my personal favorite, just in general. And on top of that, the games are good too. Particularly Devil May Cry 3 and 4. I haven't played number 5 or DMC. Now the first 2 were good games, but they didn't quite reach the level of 3 and 4. So what's my final verdict on this title? Well, Devil May Cry by itself is fantastic and incredibly unique. However, when you add a number to it, it does sound a little bit more generic and It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as smoothly, but that's a minor complaint. And on that note, I believe that this video is finished. It's a little bit short, but that's okay. I think if I made this show too long, it would get tedious because of all the different games I've got to record footage for. And at that point, it wouldn't be fun for me to do anymore. Thus, it wouldn't be worth making these videos at all. But with the second official episode out of the way, I will simply say thank you for watching, and as always, take it easy, and I'll see you next time.